Hello, beautiful souls. Rebecca Joe here. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm a multidimensional soul level healer, and I share in this series of videos, this being part 2 of 8, about the 8 extraordinary meridians. So if you have not seen the original video that speaks to the essence of the 8 extraordinary, what they are, how we work with them, what they can do for our experience here on Earth, I will drop a link in the description below with that video because today I want to speak to you about the Yin Wei Mai. Before we get into that, just a brief disclaimer that the statements in this video have not been evaluated by the FDA. The information is for educational, spiritual, and informational purposes. I'm not intending to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases. If you do have a physical or mental condition, please seek the advice of a medical professional immediately. So moving into the Yin Wei Mai, I put a beautiful picture of spring flowers here because this is really a beautiful meridian to work with when we want to transform our relationship to ourself. So this isn't about my relationship to the external world or anything outside of us. This is internal, the past, the future. And so it's like, what happiness have we missed or challenges that we've had in our lives beginning since birth that have really shadowed over happiness? And so as we dive in, Yin Wei, you'll see here, again, your internal relationship with yourself through your entire past and your future. And you may say, well, how can I see into the future? So there is a really big mystery when working with these meridians and working with the stones that we work with because they have the ability to timeline jump, go through these wormholes that is our soul into these experiences and bringing things forward. So that's advanced. I really don't want to focus on that, but rather just give you the essence of what this meridian is. If you come and say, hey, I feel the need to work through the Yin Wei, I have some challenges with the way that I see myself because of things that I've experienced, and I want to transform them on a soul level, that's when we would open this meridian. So it is about weaving or knitting. So the word yin meaning the internal and wei meaning this weaving, the way that our soul knits things into our essence and who we be. And so I always think of when I'm in this meridian, I think of this golden thread. So I don't know if you're familiar with this concept of that there has been a golden thread throughout our entire existence. So again, that's why I think of it, because it goes to our past. But if we go into meditation, we're sitting and we're working with this golden thread, the thread being our existence, past and future, just seeing what crisis, what traumas, what experiences in my life have shaped and molded who I am today. And you can also look to the future. What is in my future that is going to alter my soul, alter the way that I experience my existence? And so I see that weaving in the present moment, meeting in our heart space. So it's like our past and our future. And I've even said this too about the figure 8, that's like, or if you do an 8 up, top to bottom, the 8 being our pre-existence, the top part of the 8, and the bottom part being the future. And so like meeting in that point, of our heart, right in the center, being our soul, our now. And so when we think of that, our soul residing in the center of our heart, or if we think about the physical location of where our soul would reside, it's around our heart space, right? So if you think about the relationship that you have to yourself as a child or as a teenager, then you'll get the essence of this meridian. So it's, do I need to transform the relationship that I have to myself? Is when you would jump into this meridian. So again, this is going back to the past and then ahead to the future. So if you think about like the pivotal times that re-identified, and I say who I am because I think about me when I work through this meridian, but when I'm working with someone, I would ask that question. What is a pivotal time that I re-identified who you are? And this could be the first time that you experienced heartbreak. I identified myself with this loving, caring, open human being. Then I experienced heartbreak and I re identified, oh, I'm not so open. It's not safe to Urbano when I became reclusive or sad or down. So we just completely identified in a completely different way to ourselves. Same thing happened to a lot of young girls when they first get their moon cycle, their menstrual cycle. It's like, oh gosh, I was just like this innocent, fun child. Like, oh, I'm a woman. Even though that is really just the beginning. And we all know that that's not what womanhood is. But it's like this pivotal step when we go, oh, like being a woman sucks. So we re identify from a playful, loving, cheerful young girl who maybe still plays with dolls or draws pictures or loves animals, and we just have like this experience and we go, oh, I'm growing up and now I have to deal with this. Like our whole identity shifts, right? And so, questions that we would ask when opening this meridian, can I rewrite these times and the stories that we created within them? Can we weave happiness back into those experiences? And that's the magic, the mystery, the magic that happens when we open these meridians and allow the soul to bring experiences forward. Because I'm just giving examples, things that I in particular have worked through. And when I had major re-identification crisis, when, for example, when I lost my job, when I lost my career, my son was just 3 weeks old. And it was just like this identity shift of like, oh my God, I'm not this career woman. But that had happened 3 weeks prior when I became a mom, because it was just like, oh, it's not just about me anymore. I don't just have myself to take care of. Oh my gosh, I'm responsible for this life, for this being. And then 3 weeks later, had this like an additional identity shift of, oh God, I'm not a career woman anymore. My whole world was like re identified at that time. I internalized those events and how I saw myself, right? It was an internal process of shifting my identity. I'm no longer a career woman, and it's not just about what I do for fun. Like I have this being who I'm now responsible for. It's like my entire identity shifted. So another example would be when someone gets divorced, they go through a divorce. Not only are they experiencing heartbreak, so heartbreak is something that comes up a lot in this meridian, but it's also a sense of failure that you were in a relationship and then that relationship failed. So, oh, I'm a failure, or I'm a really bad parent because I no longer have that, family dynamic. Like I'm a screw up. I failed my children. You take on this identity of I'm a bad parent now because I failed. I'm bad at relationships. I'm experiencing heartbreak, so it's not safe for me to be open and loving anymore. It was like your identity shifts from like loving, okay, it's not safe anymore, to oh my God, like I'm a failure because my kids don't see me the same anymore, or people see me as a failure because my marriage failed. So it was like we internalize these feelings. And it's so when we're opening this meridian, it's open up the soul to say, what are the beliefs and the things about me that I have internalized that are not true to my true essence, the essence of who I am as a soul? What are these programs and conditionings that I have put on myself? So this isn't, again, it's not about the relationship to the outside world. It's our internal world. So why would we work with the Yin Wei? So again, weaving happiness back into our hearts. So when we open up this meridian and our soul's bringing these experiences forward, we're going, oh, I see what happened there. And you're like, oh, okay, I can let go of that, that condition or that belief that I had about myself. And just let's put a little bit of happiness back in there. And it's about mending the heartbreaks. Excuse me, the heart is connected to our wholeness. Yeah, and I mentioned that before, like the heart is kind of where everything weaves through our past and our future through our heart. So it's like bringing that back to wholeness, back to my internal person, my internal self is whole. There's no broken down of my identity because of these crisis experiences. Yeah, and a side note, you can only move timelines when the heart is open. That's an advanced concept, but some of you will get that. That when your heart is open, you have happiness, bliss there, we have this amazing ability to jump timelines. So I'm actually just going to go back. I just wanted to give an example that's coming to mind. I come from a military family. So both of my parents were in the military, brother-in-laws, three of my brothers, my nephews, like it's a big military family. And there was a particular family member that was serving in Iraq and had a very close buddy, someone who was in his unit that was killed in the line of duty. And it was one of those situations where, they had been out on patrol and came back, and like he went out without them. This one person went out without the typical group that would go. And so the guys carried, and he was killed in action. And so they carried this with them, like this internalization of that experience that shifted their view of themselves, their perception of themselves, and they began to weave in this, I should have been there, and it should have been me. So there's, guilt around survivor's guilt. And then I failed him. Like I failed my buddy, because if I would have been there, then, it could have ended differently. And then I'm a failure. Like it goes past, I failed the person, but I'm a failure. And so we, in just an example of the way that an experience happens, and we go inside and make up these beliefs and say these things about ourselves, and that begins to come into the now, into who we be, how we present ourselves to the world, how we, experience relationships or traumas. We go back to that conditioning. Oh my God, I'm a failure. Or, other experience, like we go back, or we're going forward. But it's easier for me to articulate and explain going, well, when I was a child and X happened, then, we have these experiences that happen in our life, and we go back to that conditioning, and it's playing out in our life. We're going, oh my gosh, this is just doesn't make any sense. This is not who I am. But we've got to go back and look at these experiences and crisis situations where we've internalized, that we've knitted these beliefs into who we are and transform them. And so that is what we do in the Yin Wei. So I just wanted to touch briefly too about the stones that we work with. I'm not going to speak to the individual stones. This is a full modality that if you are interested, that you could learn by reaching out to the Upper Clarity Stone Medicine School and learn all about the stones that we use. That is not the point of this. I really just am giving the essence, but we're using stones that support with grief, sadness, heartache, isolation, stones that can pick you up when you fall down, right? Like, you're down in the dumps. I have this belief about who I am. And it's like, okay, let's pick you back up. Let's dust you off and let's reconnect you with that wholeness, that heart wholeness. Who really are you? And then stones that reflect back to you your true essence, right? So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I know speaking to these, it sounds so much like a foreign concept. This is, if you've seen the original video, it's an ancient healing modality based in Taoist principles. And so this isn't like new age healing. This is going to the depths of you. And I've worked with some beautiful souls who are like, oh my God, you just have to experience this because words do not do it justice. So if this is speaking to you, you're getting that like tingles on your head or like someone tapping on your shoulder, your spirit guide or your angel going, yeah, this is what you need. Please reach out to me to book a series. So these are always done in a series of 3. There's just beautiful alchemy with the repetition and you kind of the soul and the body working together, the body begins to get on board as we go deeper into the 3 sessions. So it is a 1-month program with me, one-on-one. This is not a group program. So it's 3 stone application sessions. This is done remotely. You don't need to know the details of that either, but it is working with holographic grids. So some people will ask, well, if I'm not with you in person, like how are the stones actually doing the work? Because I'm connecting holographically with you. Energy is energy, can send it anywhere. And then the 4th session is an integration session and soul coaching. Like, what do we still need to figure out? What are the questions? What does this mean for your life? How do you bring this forward into your life? How was it transformed you? And what do you need to do moving forward? A lot of the times that is like one of the most powerful moments through this series is when it all lands inside of you and you're like, yep, I see it. I got it. I got it. And then your life, you go, oh, wow. My whole relationship to myself has just completely transformed by opening this extraordinary meridian. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. I will be posting shortly the additional 6 meridians and I look forward to connecting with you soon.